As a kid, all a nigga wanna have was a Burberry scarf and $3 in my pocket. Instead I got beat with a switch, but I don't give a fuck, but it's on my body. Scars all up on me, but I run around from everybody. Life lesson learned, I better learn from this bitch, nobody. She pushed me around, she didn't give no motherfucks about it. She broke my heart 3 times, but I ain't getting...
It's Florida Georgia week. We have the Florida Gators taking on the Georgia Bulldogs in the world's biggest cocktail party. I'm really excited about this game. Now, as we know, this game is most likely going to decide who ends up winning the SEC East and who ends up most likely taking on Alabama in the SEC championship game. Now, for Florida, they defeated Missouri last week 41-17. And their defense looked really good. And I know a lot of people are going to be like, oh, JT, it was only Missouri. I understand Missouri isn't the best of teams, but Missouri does have a pretty solid offense. And when you look at how Florida's defense has played the first couple of weeks, I mean, it hasn't really been good. So the fact that their defense was able to perform the way they did against Missouri was really impressive. Also, you got to remember that Florida was missing a couple of key players on the defense side of the football. So the fact that they were able to perform the way they did, despite missing a couple of key guys on defense, is really impressive. Now for Georgia, you defeated Kentucky last week 14-3. And even though Georgia won that game, it feels like that was a game that Georgia was just barely able to skate by and win. It's like you ever were in school and you pass a test, but you barely pass, like you pass it with a 60. Like a 60 in most states is considered a passing grade, but you barely passed, okay? And for Georgia, it seems like you won that game, but you barely were able to win that game. And a big reason why was because of Georgia's offense. Stetson Bennett is a great story. Okay, we already know about his story. He walked on, he went JUCO, went back to Georgia, ended up starting the season out as their fourth-string quarterback, and now he's their starter. Okay, he's a great story. But I'm going to say what a lot of Georgia fans already know. Stetson Bennett is holding back Georgia's offense. Georgia has a lot of talent offensively. They have one of the best offensive lines in the SEC. They have a great trio of halfbacks, and they have two of the best up-and-coming wide receivers in this conference in Kearis Jackson and George Pickens. But quarterback is the Achilles heel of Georgia. And Stetson Bennett, going into this game, the biggest question for him is going to be, can he make the big plays to get Georgia to win? Because I don't care what any Georgia fan comes on and tries to say about Florida's defense. Look, I'm not necessarily convinced about Florida's defense neither. I'm somebody who needs to see a team put up 2-3 good games of performances for me to say, you know what, this team is improved. So for Florida, I'm still not all that sold on their defense. I still need to see better play out of their defense for the next couple of weeks before I'm on the bandwagon that Florida's defense has hit the corner. But even then, if Georgia's able to come in here and run the football, despite how well Georgia is able to run the football on Florida's defense, they still going to have points during this game that they're going to have to complete some passes down the field, which is something that I don't really have a lot of confidence in Stetson Bennett being able to do. And when you look at that Alabama game, Georgia's defense kept Georgia in that game in the first half. But in the second half, what's the difference between Alabama winning that game and Georgia losing? Mac Jones was able to make the big plays when Alabama needed them, and Stetson Bennett simply wasn't able to. So when I look at Stetson Bennett heading into this game, I want to see, is he going to be able to make those big plays, make those big throws to keep Georgia in the game? Because a large reason why Georgia defeated Florida last year was because, first of all, they were great on third down. They were 12-18 on third down. And second, they controlled time possession, which when you're able to convert on third down, you're most likely going to end up winning the time possession battle because you're able to keep the drive alive. You're able to sustain longer drives. So with Stetson Bennett, is he going to be able to make those critical throws on third down that Jake Fromm was able to make? Like, I know a lot of Georgia fans aren't really big fans of Jake Fromm. And Jake Fromm is pretty much hated because of how that Justin Fields situation went about. They ended up choosing Fromm over Fields. Fields went to Ohio State. We already know what Justin Fields is doing right now for Ohio State. But I mean, one thing that you have to give Jake Fromm credit for is that he was able to make some big throws on third down. And for Stetson Bennett, I don't know if he's necessarily going to be able to make those big throws on third down like Jake Fromm was able to make. So if you're Florida defensively, you need to put Georgia in third and long situations. If Georgia's looking at a 3rd and 7 or a 3rd and 8 or a 3rd and long when they have to throw the football to convert, you feel really good about your chances of being able to get up off the field. Meanwhile, if you put Georgia in 3rd and 3, 3rd and 4, 3rd and 2 situations where they can run the ball to pick up the first down, you don't really feel good about that. So for Florida, what your strategy has to be defensively, you have to stack 8-9 guys in the box, go all out on stopping the run, and force Stetson Bennett to beat you by throwing the football. And if you get beat by Stetson Bennett, you can live with that. But one thing that you're Florida that you can't allow is for Georgia to dictate this game by running the football. And another thing for Georgia is that you have to make sure that you don't turn the football over. Because one thing that killed Georgia in that Alabama game was the fact that they had so many costly turnovers in the second half. And it doesn't matter how great of a defense that you have. If your defense is on the field for more plays than what they want to be, and they're put in situations that they have a short field to defend, they're going to surrender some points. So Georgia has to play mistake-free football, and they also have to be able to run the football. Okay? And if Georgia isn't able to do either one of those things, I don't really think they have a good shot at winning this game. But at the end of the day, like I said earlier, Stetson Bennett is still going to have to be able to make some throws to win the game. Okay? It doesn't matter how much success Georgia has on the ground. Stetson Bennett is going to have to throw the ball eventually. And he's going to have to be able to connect on some big plays. And I question Stetson Bennett's ability to do that. Now, for Georgia, defensively, you have one of the best defenses in college football. You're going to get one of the best offenses in college football in Florida. But one thing that Florida can't do offensively is run the football. And for Florida, I think the run game is going to be really critical in this game because this game, I was talking to a Florida fan yesterday. He said that for Florida to win this game, time possession is going to be really critical in this game. Because Georgia dominated time possession last year. Georgia held the ball for 35 minutes and 48 seconds compared to Florida only holding the ball for 24 minutes and 12 seconds. So Florida has to be able to win that time possession battle if they want to be able to win that game. And by winning time possession, you have to be able to run the football. Because one thing about Florida is that Florida is a team that doesn't take a lot of shots down the field. And I'm surprised that a lot of people haven't really touched on that. Florida is an offense that is able to make the big plays in the passing game because of what these wide receivers are able to do once they get the ball in their hands, especially Kadarius Toney. If you give Kadarius Toney a screen pass, he's able to take it to the house. So if you're Georgia and you're Kirby Smart, what your strategy has to be defensively is you have to make Florida beat you by throwing the football deep. And they do have the talent to do that. I'm not saying that Florida can't. I'm just saying that we haven't really seen Georgia have to be put in a situation against Florida that they have to, stop the deep passing game, really. So if you're Florida's defense, or if you're Florida's offense, you want to win this football game by, taking what the defense gives you, taking those 6-7 yard, open passes. But if you're Georgia, you need to be able to take those away, force Florida to throw the football downfield. Now, I'm not saying that Florida isn't capable of doing that. That's not what I'm saying. I'm just saying that we haven't seen Florida do that a lot this season. And another thing for Georgia is going to be, how are you going to take away tight end Kyle Pitts? Because when Florida gets in the red zone, the majority of the time, Kyle Pitts is scoring the majority of the red zone touchdowns. So what is going to be your game plan for taking away Kyle Pitts? So for me, this game is going to come down to who is able to get off the field on third down and who's able to control time possession. Okay, so for me, I am going to take Florida to win this football game. And the reason why I'm going to take Florida to win this game is because I don't trust Stetson Bennett. I don't trust that Stetson Bennett is going to be able to make the big throws and make the big plays when it matters the most. And I think that Georgia is going to lose the same way they did against Alabama. In the first half, they played a really good game. But in the second half, when Stetson Bennett was forced in a situation that Georgia had to lean on him to win the game, he wasn't able to do it. And I think that's going to be the same end result in this game against Florida. I think that Georgia's defense is going to be able to keep them in the game. But eventually, Stetson Bennett and this offense are going to have to be able to make some plays. And I don't care how bad Florida's defense may be, you still like their chances against Stetson Bennett. Stetson Bennett, we don't even know, every time he throws the ball, you have to pray to God that the ball gets past the line of scrimmage. So, I mean, for Georgia, I think you're really limited to that quarterback. And I think quarterback is going to be the reason why you lose this game. And like I said earlier, it doesn't matter how much success Georgia has running the football. Eventually, there's going to come a point in time in this game that you're going to have to be able to throw the football. And I don't think Georgia's going to be able to do so. So I'm taking Florida to win this game. 24-13 is my final score prediction. Give me Florida.